Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my good friend, we are actually live in the Bourbon Life studios tonight. My good friend, Matt.
That's right, we are double live.
Yes, we are.
According to you there, we are live in the Bourbon Life studios.
Live, man. So how you doing, Matt?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great.
Good.
If you blindfolded me and told me any different, I would tell you it's spring outside officially here.
Yeah, the flowers are blooming, right?
I just saw the tulips coming up.
In the front yard, man.
Are up.
That's right. You know it's spring then when the tulips are coming up. If I woke up in the morning with my head under the carpet, oh wait, that's from Christmas Vacation. Sorry, we won't go there. So yeah, Matt, I forgot to check on birthdays. So if we got a Bourbon Lifer with a birthday this week, I apologize, Bourbon Lifers. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we'll get you next week. We're sorry about that.
I've been slacking on the preparation on this episode because we're live, and it's a totally different experience than when we're on the computer. Not going to just pull stuff up as we go, but it's different.
We shouldn't be slacking. We're trying to impress our guests tonight. But
come on, they're already impressed, man. Yeah. Right?
We're impressed.
There you go.
We'll be impressed.
There you go. They saw the bourbon collection. They're impressed already, man. So it's all good. All right. So we should probably thank our sponsors, the Stave restaurant out in Millville, Kentucky. Making some great food out there with a new menu, new chef, and all sorts of new stuff. And we'll hear a lot more about the Stave restaurant here in just a few minutes. And then also 3 Chord Bourbon. We really appreciate their support as well. The stuff they're putting out, the Amplify Rye, the small batch, and then the 12 Bar Reserve, and gosh, what else, Matt? Whiskey Drummer,
and they've also got the Pinot Noir finish.
Pinot Noir, yeah.
And they're starting to do a lot of single barrels. I know I've seen, especially in some of the Michigan groups I'm a part of back in my hometown.
The Michigonads.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
They're doing quite a lot up there.
Yeah, they're doing great stuff. So we appreciate their support. You can check them out online at 3chordbourbon.com. And with that said, Matt, you want to tell everybody who we have with us tonight?
Absolutely. So joining us for our first repeat guests here are joining us tonight. We have Rebecca Burnworth and Kyle Klatka from the Stave restaurant.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Life.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're happy.
We couldn't wait to get back, and we're so happy for you guys. Look, you've been doing this how long now?
This will be episode 61.
Wow.
I know. We should be I should be measuring on my hair, like how long we've been doing it.
But you keep cutting it off, Matt. So
I haven't cut it since we started.
You haven't cut? Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I thought you'd cut it off before.
No.
What have I been thinking, man?
What have you been thinking?
You were that.
Could literally measure it with his hair.
He could. Well, maybe we can start doing that with my beard. If I just keep letting it go and get longer and longer.
Yeah, you're going to have a fun time with that during the summer.
That's what my wife said the other day, too. She's like, when we get out on the lake on the boat, you're just going to be miserable and you're going to be like pulling that stuff off your face because it's going to be so hot. So
I haven't shaved in about 2-3 months, and I got this thing going, and it's facial hair is not a good thing for me.
Yeah. Oh no, I understand that. When I first started growing it drove me nuts, and then I get to a point usually where I just say forget it and shave it off. But for some reason this time I said, you know what, I'm just gonna let it grow. So anyway, my wife hates it. So what can I say?
But hey, enough about us. We've got guests here in the studio. We've got some. Before we get into it, we're going to do it again.
We should, Matt.
We've got something poured up.
Yeah.
So before we do our usual thing, let's talk about our first drink.
Yeah, man. Go ahead and tell us what we got poured up.
All right, poured up for round session or period number 1 is the 2021 limited release from Maker's Mark, and this is the FAE 01. So this is from their wood finishing series. Clocking in at 110.6 proof or 55.3% ABV.
Yes.
Yes. And the Stave details on this, just reading off the label here, it is 10 virgin toasted American oak staves. And so this is, again, the 2021 limited release from Maker's Mark, FAE 01.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that's the third release in this series. Jane Bowie's the one who oversees that program. And man, she's doing a great job. Last year they had that, it's all the weird numbers. The RC6, I think, was the first one, right?
I had that, yep.
Yeah,
like,
that was delicious.
And RC1 F it by like
SAE P5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something.
You lost me at that.
it was like
Start
GPS
going to
coordinates or something like
It really was.
229 west by 486
Honestly,
south.
I've got the bottle over there, but I don't remember the
Off the
actual.
top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember the combinations of numbers and letters. That was last year's. So this year, they just released that FAE 01, and they're going to actually do 2 this year. So it's going to be a FAE 01, and they'll do an FAE 02. So there will be a second release of that. But those are on the shelves. Man, I'm thinking that those are right around $60 a bottle, if I remember correctly, from what I've seen. Maker's Mark was kind enough to send us that bottle, so we really appreciate that.
Do we know what the FAE stands for? Is that like barrel location maybe in the warehouse, or
I think it's actually the Stave combination, or what it's like. I think that's the way that they identify those bottles, those expressions in the series, is the combination, either that combination. It's like somebody in their lab somewhere says, okay, this batch is going to be FAC 03 and this one's going to be FA, whatever. And then whichever one they decide to go with, it's like, oh, well, this year's winner is FAE 01. So kind of weird, but it, kind of works. Matt, you're over there working on it, man. So what are you getting on it?
It's got a really juicy nose.
Yeah. Very good.
Getting like strawberries, a little tartness from cranberry, but like a really juicy nose that leads to I was really picking up the wheat, like fresh cracked wheat.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like
smooth.
a baked bread wheat on the nose.
Yeah.
Coming through with it. And a little bit of like a little smokiness.
Yeah.
A little oak. You can taste maybe the extra toasted staves in there.
Kyle, Rebecca, what about you guys?
You can definitely taste it's 110.
Oh yeah. it packs a little bit of a punch to it. This is
so flavorful though.
Yeah.
It is really smooth.
My first taste of the day.
The nose is a little hot actually. I'm kind of getting a little bit in the nostrils.
Yeah.
A little singe.
A little bit. Yeah, but that you can feel it on, like Kyle said, man. Well, that was my first drink, and it was like, woo.
Surprise wakes you up. That's
yeah.
Gets you going.
And I feel that one all the way down. Get that Kentucky hug going all the way down on this one, which is kind of funny because normally I usually don't get that effect with with Maker's Mark, but at 110, of course, normal Maker's is what, 94, 90 proof, 94 proof.
Depends. Like the Maker's cast strength are a little bit higher.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah. So yeah, but so far so good, man. I'm gonna let this air out a little bit. So let's kind of talk with you guys. Rebecca, we've had you on before, but you're like probably
We survived.
Yeah,
the
but
pandemic.
you were probably like our third or fourth guest, I think, maybe something like that. I mean,
sounds right.
Yeah. So kind of tell our listeners a little bit about who you are, because there's a lot of listeners that are new. We've picked up, obviously, it's been 60, 50 plus episodes.
So happy for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. But tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, let's see. I am an architect, I guess, first and foremost, and I've designed bars and restaurants for the past 17 years.
Wow.
And we, my husband and I, Eric, who's a builder, and he, I think, happily builds some of the restaurants that I design. I'm pretty sure he's happy. No, we have a lot of fun building, what becomes our good friends' restaurants, and so we are so lucky to do that. And through a series of happy occurrences, we found the Stave, and through some friends of ours, and got the Stave up and running in, let's see, that would be June. We opened June of 2018.
Wow. So you guys are going on 3 years now.
It'll be our third. That's right.
Awesome.
Third birthday this June.
And you're conveniently located on the banks of Glens Creek on McCracken Pike.
That's right.
Between Gasol and Key and
That's
Woodford
right.
Reserve.
We are so lucky. We have the best neighbors in the whole world.
Yeah, you do.
We are a mile from Castle and Key and 2 miles from Woodford Reserve. And then that puts us just about, I don't know, what's that? Probably 10, 12 miles from Buffalo Trace,
right.
Wild Turkey, and Four Roses. So those are kind of our closest neighbors. Glens Creek Distilling, gosh, we can't.
Oh yeah, I know. I keep forgetting about Glens Creek.
Amazing group down the street. Also, just about a mile and a half away. They're right behind Castle and Key.
Yeah.
So we're so lucky. Everybody's been, I think, kind of taking care of each other in the past year to make it through this. And
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget the call when actually it was Castle and Key that called me. It was Friday the 13th, last March, and they said,
Oh man.
I hate to say this, but we're closing today. And I said, well, what about Woodford? And they said Monday. So that was kind of the beginning of the closings, and we all made it through those. So I'm excited to get back to it in a good way.
Definitely. We can talk about that
Oh, yeah.
a little bit more. Kyle, real quick. Well, not real quick, man. Take your time, Kyle.
Yeah, we got to
you're
introduce
good.
Kyle.
I was going to say, yeah, we don't even, we don't have to make this quick, Kyle.
Oh, no,
we got all the time in the world, man. So just tell us.
My whole background story is long and complicated, so I'm just going to pick up from Lexington, because if I go going longer, it's going to take up your entire show. So when I came down to Lexington was during Hurricane Sandy. From outplaced me out, and the girl I was dating at the time, her family owned Kesmark in Versailles, and I was dating the daughter, and we came down to Lexington, and I helped opened up Palmer's over Lexington Green.
Oh yeah,
over there. Yeah, we first when they first opened up, me and good friend Andrew Southers opened it up, and kind of got burnt out on all the whole corporate stuff, and so when we left, we opened up a food truck called the Gastronomes for, let's say, 4 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Time is irrelevant to me nowadays because it goes by like so fast. And then we moved on to a brick and mortar called Oscar Diggs in downtown Lexington.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Awesome little place.
Yeah. Killing it down there, especially the downtown. That location's beautiful. And then from there, really was just for a couple months just bouncing around, and then Rebecca hit me up.
Snapped him up.
Yeah, asked me if
He
I'd be
was-
interested in coming to Stave. And
Yeah.
so I'm originally from Cleveland, New York City, but that's like a whole background itself too. So it's like
A whole nother story.
yeah, that's gonna at least take an hour to talk.
So you got your start in food in Cleveland then?
Yeah. So my very first start in food was I was 14 years old working at Denny's as a dishwasher.
Okay.
And
Yes.
one of their employees didn't show up on a Saturday or Sunday morning and cooking, and they asked me if I would go on the line at like 15, 16 years old. It's like, yeah. So every Saturday and Sunday at Denny's when I was 16 years old, I was always cooking.
no kidding.
Cooking at Denny's, and I tell people, if you can survive a Saturday and Sunday morning at Denny's cooking, you can survive anything. Because when they close out, they pack them in there. So it's like this was almost 20 years ago. Yeah, almost 20 years ago. Damn. All right.
You're dating yourself there now, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. And then I went to Sullivan University. I got my degree down there with business management and culinary arts. Came back up to Cleveland. I opened up a place in downtown Cleveland called Pura Vida by Brant Evans. And then I worked for Blue Stallion. Oh, no, Blue Canyon. I always get those two confused. It's a place called Blue Canyon in Twinsburg, Ohio. I was the saute chef down there, and I was working both at the Pura Vida downtown Cleveland and Twinsburg at the same time.
Wow.
And just working down there, had the opportunity to work for Hilton Hotel, took that opportunity, started bouncing around at different places. And then I was in Staten Island, and I had the job offer to work at Gramercy Tavern in New York City. I don't know if most people know who Gramercy Tavern in 2011 won Best Restaurant in America in Food and Wine magazine.
Holy cow.
And I was the sous chef down there for a year and a half.
Nice.
And after all the Hurricane Sandy stuff happened, that's what brought me down here. So
Yeah. So that had to be kind of a crazy experience, man, working in New York and in a big hotel or a big restaurant like that.
yeah,
I mean,
it was a blast. I learned a lot, and
Yeah.
People are always like, "Oh, New York City must be amazing." I was like, "No, it's a place you want to visit for a week, but not a place you want to live for a year and a half."
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I just can't imagine living up there. But it seems like a cool place to go visit, and been up there once or twice. But I agree. I don't think I'd want to
be there longer than a week.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited that he's here. This
Yeah.
it was a great way to kind of restart service.
Yeah.
Here in February, we actually took a break in January. And kind of hit the reset button, got the inside back open. So our inside had been closed for a year. And then when we got open, we're happy to open with Kyle. So
Yeah.
that was, and I think he brings a really neat creativity to the menu, and I think it's a fantastic, well-rounded menu with him. And
definitely,
I think you've been over to have some.
I've
of the
been
new
there
menu
once or twice, maybe, or 3 times or 4 times.
It's so funny. So right before they opened up the Stave, Rebecca worked for us for like 2-3 days. I was like, "You work Expo."
Oh, that's right. Andrew, his partner from Gastronom's Food Truck, they were like, "Hey, before you open a restaurant, you need to Expo." And I thought, well, okay, I've done that, at a restaurant or two before, but he's like, not like us. And I have to tell you, it was a blast. I think they were nice in letting me even stand in the kitchen, really.
Yeah.
But it was really just listening to them call tickets all night long. It was kind of a blast.
We would both work on different stations, and then when you have somebody new, you already know what tickets are coming through, so you kind of just like, I know what she's about to say, so I'm just like, all right, just say what you need to say now. I'm like, I already know what's coming. Just keep it going. Just keep it going.
Fun times.
So how is it transitioning now? Working with the Stave? How do you like it out there? You having a good time? So far?
Yeah, it's completely different from downtown areas.
Sure,
it's like,
sure.
It's nice and calm, like nice and relaxing. You don't have to deal with the homeless or gigantic rats or out in the back, like not
in the restaurant.
No, not in the restaurant.
No, I get it.
You're taking out garbage with a baseball bat and such. That's just me.
That would be kind of tough. All right, let's jump back to this Maker's Mark real quick and get some thoughts on this. Matt, what do you think, man?
I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot more flavor than, of course, regular Makers. I think the Stave and the wood finishing really did it some justice on that. I pick up some really, really great fruit. It's got that nice toastiness, and it gives that Kentucky hug. It's nice and warm. Comes off a little spicy for being, especially a wheated mash bill like Maker's is. Picking up a little more heat with this. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I get a kind of a spicy kick to it, almost more like a rye bourbon or even a rye whiskey. I mean, it's just my tongue is a little bit.
Hit the tip of your tongue a little bit. It makes you a little numbing.
A little tingly. Yeah, it's kind of funny, and that's not necessarily from the proof, but from the bourbon. But to me, this is almost. It's got a little bit of a tannic, finish to it. I get a little bit of a little drying effect on it. So me, man, when it comes to tannic finishes and things are dry, I'm kind of like
deal breaker.
Well, I don't want to say deal breaker, but I don't know. But I'll let this open up and drink it. It's a great bottle, and like I said, Jane's killing it doing these bottles in this series, but. For some reason, that's just one thing in a bourbon I'm not a big fan of when it kind of makes you pucker up at the end with that little bit of drying feeling. So I don't know. Do you guys pick that up?
Oh yeah.
I do.
Okay. All right. So that's just me, right? It's not just me. That's a good thing. So you guys have been working together now.
We've known each other for years.
Yeah. So how was it that, just from knowing each other, and you were in a position where you're like, we need to do something, and
yeah, I think we were just interested in trying something new, and we had heard that Kyle had left his current position, and just through mutual friends, kind of connected, and I just feel really lucky. I feel like it was a good time, and
yeah, definitely, and it's been great because I've been out there at least 3 times, 4 times maybe since you guys have reopened. So. The menu, we can talk about that because we're getting close to the end of session 1. I don't want to jump into the whole menu and and everything, before we can do that. So let's get some final thoughts on the Makers here, and we'll wrap up this first session. Matt, what are your final thoughts on this one? What do you think, man?
It's good. I'm enjoying it. I'd like to compare it to the other wood
2
finishing releases, and also see how this compares to the next release, the FAE 02.
Yeah.
But I really like the juiciness, the berries, strawberry coming across with it.
Gotcha.
It does finish a little bit tannic, like you were saying, Mark, and a little bit of heat, like almost, I don't want to say unnecessary heat on the tongue, but it's got it's hot on the tongue.
Surprised you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I agree, Kyle. It's kind of a surprise, And Matt, I put something up on the web yesterday, on the web,
the internets,
in the internets. I put it in the internet, but on the website that Makers got approval for a new release called DNA Project. So what they're going to do is they're going to they usually bottle at 110 or barrel at 110. So
That's 110 proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So they barrel their makers. A lot of people do it at 125 because you can't barrel your bourbon higher than 125 proof by law.
Yeah.
And most of them will do 125 because it saves them on barrels, right?
From an economic standpoint.
Right. Because Denny even talked about that. They proof down to 110, and that just creates more product, and they have to have more barrels, and they have to have more warehouses. But what they're going to do is they're going to do this whole series. This called the DNA project. So they're going to do it's obviously the same mash bill. It's going to be aged the same period of time, same locations, but they're going to put it in at 110 proof, and then they're going to do some at 115, and then some at 120, and then some at 125.
Ooh,
and then
I've never seen them above like 125.
Yeah,
so that's a surprise. Huh?
And the funny thing is, because this one, what is this, Matt? 110.6 or something?
Yep, 110.6. You're
Yeah,
right.
so it went in at 110 because all the makers goes in at 110.
Yeah.
So this one actually went up in proof while it was in the barrel, and that happens when the water evaporates. That alcohol will concentrate. So it ends up going up in proof. Stag Junior does the same thing. Elijah Craig barrel proof, because you get some of those up into 130 proof and whatnots on those. But yeah, so it'd be kind of curious to see how those 4 different proof points, how it changes the flavor of the Maker's Mark. So they're really doing some innovative stuff over there at Maker's Mark. So
sounds like a good thing to give out in like a gift box set of little,
yeah,
like 350 mils or like 250s or something.
There you go,
Different
Maker.
versions.
Yeah,
There you go,
Yeah.
Maker's
No,
Mark.
that's a good idea.
Have all
I'd love
4 of
that.
them together.
Little flight.
But I'm sure that they're probably going to sell it, so everybody's got to buy the whole.
Yeah.
So
the
we need
whole
to do
box.
that at the
4
Stave, right? We need to
There it
do
is.
there
the
you go.
Maker's Mark.
The Maker's DNA flight.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be really interesting.
No idea when they're coming
Love
out
to
with
do
this.
that.
I
Oh,
just
yeah, we got
Maker's
plenty.
Mark.
We got plenty
Yeah.
of Maker's Mark right
Yeah.
now. So it's
I think that's a good plan. I get on I get on the internets and check things out, and that's just something that kind of broke the other day, was that the label has been approved now for this DNA project. So I have no idea when it's going to come out, but at least the label's been approved. So it's obviously a work in progress. So, all right, guys, let's take a quick break. Phil, final thoughts from you guys. What do you guys on the Makers?
You said it perfectly. I was about to say, it was sweet, and then at the very end, it was just like the numbness on your tongue, and it's got the nice kick to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it hits the back of my tongue, too, I think tannic is probably the best way to describe that, where the heat's kind of in the back for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that kind of, I equate that with that. So I think you did nail that.
Yeah. So I enjoy it. I don't know that I like it as much as last year's, but maybe I'll let that bottle open up a little bit more and give it another visit here in a few weeks and see what happens. So, all right, guys, let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with more with Rebecca and Kyle from the Stave Restaurant.
Hey, Bourbon Lifers. When you're out hunting for those hard-to-find bottles or just enjoying the distilleries of Central Kentucky, you're going to work up an appetite. And when it's time to refuel, we suggest that you visit our good friends Rebecca and Eric Burnworth at the Stave Restaurant. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, close to Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, the Stave Restaurant is just off the beaten path, nestled on the banks of Glens Creek. With a newly redesigned menu, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day featuring an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. You can take our word for it. The food alone is worth the trip to the Stave. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. And you can even purchase bottles of bourbon to take home with you while you're there. Make sure to follow the Stave on Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky, or visit them online at thestavekentucky.com to stay up to date on everything that's going on. The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise, right here in the heart of bourbon country.
All right, everybody, welcome back for round or session or segment or period 2, whichever you prefer to call it, of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I mean, it's an ongoing, just stupid, not even a joke anymore, Rebecca. It's just, it's just one of those things, you know.
Take it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those.
Shift.
It's just a
Second
Bourbon Life
shift?
thing. Second shift. Welcome back to the second shift. That's right. Yeah, that's right. We can call it the second shift of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is Matt. Matt, you hung around, man. That's awesome.
Hey, what can I say, man? These things are addictive.
He likes it.
Yeah. But he's got to get past me to get out of the basement here. So, good luck with that. You're faster than me. Speaking of fast, Matt, tell everybody what you did over Easter weekend, man.
Oh, I finally got to run a race.
Yeah.
First one in like a year and a half.
Yeah, not just run a race, Matt. Tell everybody what you did, Matt.
Oh, it was a marathon.
It was just a marathon.
Oh yeah, nothing big.
Yeah, nothing big, nothing
That's
big.
great.
Just a marathon in Indianapolis. Yeah, Matt. Tell everybody how fast you ran your marathon, Matt.
Matt, did you run it fast?
Freaking crushed it, man. I was like, he told me tonight when he got here. I'm like, what? You did what? How fast did you run it, Matt?
My final time was 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 42 seconds.
Oh wow.
2 hours and 45. Yeah, that's what. So what'd you say? 6:19 a mile.
Yeah, 6:19
Oh my
a mile.
gosh.
6 minute. Have you ever run a 6 minute mile?
No,
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Years ago.
No, when I used to run races, and now I'm not going to tell.
Yeah, years and years and years and years ago when I was in law school and I was jogging, and I was running probably 8.5, 9 minute miles, just comfortable pace for me. And one day I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can run a 6 minute, no kidding, a 6 minute mile. Cause I had a little course that I would run a mile and I would just do it 3 or 4 times, So I ran the mile and forced myself to do it in right at 6 minutes. And I swear to God, I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. I got in the shower and just to get hot air to try to open up my lungs. And I was like, I can't imagine Matt doing that for 26 freaking miles. So Matt, tell everybody what that means now that you ran your marathon so fast.
Oh, hopefully if my time gets accepted, I'll be running in this year's Boston Marathon in October.
Yeah, man. So
Big congratulations. That's
Thanks.
huge.
Hopefully, I've got to see if the time's fast enough. So it's under the qualifying time, but
yeah, but you got to compare it, I guess, to all the other
but they always
racers.
take the fastest in each age group. So
That's pretty damn fast to me.
let's hope. Here's to hoping.
Yeah.
Good job.
all right.
Thank you.
So this round we are drinking the you got the bottle over there. Kyle's got the bottle. We're drinking. That's all right, man.
Yeah, who wants to
I was
introduce
reading
it
the back. It was a cool nod to E.H. Taylor in the back.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I hadn't read that, man. I can't even read it now. The print's so small. That's what happens when you get old, right? But so we are drinking the brand new release from Castle and Key. This was the first, over the last 3 weeks, I guess it's 3 weeks? Yeah. They did a single barrel release, and this was the first week that they did one. This is their new single barrel rye called Slow Hands. This is 111.9 proof, so we're bumping it up. I know.
Keeping it going.
There's a theme to this evening. I'm catching on now. We started at 110.6. We're at 111.9. And we're not going to say what's next, but we know where we're headed. So this is this is bottle number 33. So I feel pretty lucky to have that. Right? That's pretty cool. It is aged for 3.5 years. The bottle is gorgeous. If you've seen those Restoration Rye. It's the same bottle as Restoration Rye.
The same cork and everything.
Same cork. It's got, man, I can't get over how heavy, if I can get this cork.
Cork is.
It's a nice feel.
Oh, man, I didn't get the cork pop. Wait. Yeah, that was weak.
This is a single barrel, right?
It is a single barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yep. And the mash bill on this, a little different. It's a 63% rye, 17% corn, and 20% malted barley. So that's kind of different. Several different things about that one, actually. I mean, the rye content, usually, you're looking, a rye is going to be in the 50s, and it's just going to be one of those barely legal ryes. It has to be 51%. So a lot of Kentucky distillers will do a 51% rye, and then it's really, really heavy on the corn, and maybe, 8-10% malted barley. This one's only got 17% corn, but a 63% rye. So it's kind of like the, who was it? Pinhook, right? The Ride On, wasn't there's like 60% rye or something?
This is like a Pennsylvania rye recipe.
Okay.
That we run into, kind of that middle of the road.
Yeah.
Rye.
It's not a 95.5.
Yeah, not the
Indiana
95.5 or the Kentucky 51%.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get like Pennsylvania or New
Dad's
York.
hat.
Yep. Pennsylvania, New York, they have like the 70, 75 or like upper 60s. So it's kind of fits in that category.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. 20% malted barley. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's kind of high for malted barley because you usually see that down around the 8 to 10% range. So, so thoughts, Matt? What are you getting? You're nosing it over there. I see you working it. What are you picking up?
It's got a lighter color than I was expecting when I poured it, first and foremost. But I think that malted barley, the nose on it, the rye is not as prominent, and I think the barley has something to play with that. But I get I get a nose of like blueberry.
It's very fruity.
Yeah, blueberries or grapes, like almost not a raisin, because I think of a raisin as more savory.
Yeah.
But this, like, I'm getting blueberries, almost like a pineapple or a tropical.
See, I'm starting to pick up like a mint
or something.
I get almost like a mintiness to it. I don't know if you pick up any mint on that at all or not, but Kyle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I've been tasting it already. So
okay.
I did the nose already, and I was going right for the taste.
Going for it.
Yeah.
So
wait,
Rebecca, what about you? What are you picking up on this one?
All right. Well, I feel weird saying this, but I kept getting bananas.
Oh, okay.
When you guys were saying pineapple and blueberries, I was kind of reading bananas, but
Gotcha.
not in an Old Forester sort of
Not
way.
an Old Forester banana type of
right.
Brown Foreman type of banana thing, right? So that makes sense.
The flavor is amazing.
It's smooth. It doesn't have that aftertaste like the burn to it.
got a nice rye finish, and I taste that mint more.
But the fruit on this, right?
I get-
Very,
Wow.
very fruity.
So, Mark, I'm picking up something that
Very
you always
cherry.
get. I get a lot of like black tea coming down the line there at the end.
Yeah. I got I got a mintiness and then I got the rye spiciness, but then toward that finish, I get almost like
I get it.
the tea.
How do you describe that? Right.
Like tea,
A
like
black
a black,
tea?
almost like a
like,
black
like
tea,
an Earl Grey.
Like an Earl-
or-
yeah. Yeah, like an unsweet black tea.
It's like sun tea.
Yeah.
Like if you were to make
Oh,
a
yeah,
sun tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. How funny! All right, guys. So
That is lovely.
yeah,
They're doing.
it is.
Do you have one more release for this week, or are they doing 4 weeks or 3 weeks? Do you?
I see. Somebody's told me it was 3, but I don't know if it was 4.
I thought I had heard 4,
Okay,
but don't quote me on that.
So
We're
one,
at 2 right now.
all right. So it was one barrel or whatever
Per week.
per week. So I signed up for the first week and got my reservation. And it's just funny because I just happened to jump on their website and they had all these afternoon dates and they had one at 10:45 and I was like, yep. So I took 10:45 and drove out there Friday morning and got the bottle and came out to the Stave.
Yeah, I saw you.
Well,
You were
it's funny.
outside.
I drove by and saw Kyle standing outside and I was like, oh, I'm going to swing in here and just say hi. And then I was like, oh, well, since I'm here, I might as well go ahead and eat, you know?
So
but yeah.
speaking of eating, though, this is enough about us here, Mark.
Yeah,
We've got
that's
great
true.
guests
Okay,
in the
all right. We should
studio
get back to
here.
let's talk about the Stave. Let's talk about what you guys are doing now. So, first, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic itself and what it was like, you know, for you all at the Stave. I mean, the restaurant, because you said, you know, March 13th last year, and I remember that, you know, because you're our sponsor. You guys have been with us since the very beginning, and we appreciate that. And it was tough, and I felt bad for you guys because talking with you, you know, I could see what you all were going through. So
Yeah, that was crazy.
Tell our listeners, because I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't really get that
Yeah,
insight.
the story of a restaurant
Yeah,
through
seriously.
a pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, so I'd mentioned the last shift, the first shift of the Bourbon Life podcast. We talked about, you know, our literal shutdown, and it was Friday the 13th, and Castle and Key called me, John Newton, their outside sales called, and he said, Rebecca, I hate to tell you this, we're going to shut down. So we were in the middle of building more seating into our treehouse because we were getting so busy.
Yeah.
Busier than we had ever been. And
Thanks to the Bourbon Life Podcast.
thank you. That's right. We were, so busy. And then all of a sudden he called to say that. And I said, you know, I mean, I just was in disbelief, and I knew what was happening because I have some.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor
you
that
know somebody that knows somebody that's
Yeah.
pretty high up in
Yeah.
the chain of command up there.
So, and it, you know, I was not aware of shutdowns. I would never ask that for that information, but it was. I knew how serious it was getting, and to know that this big distillery was shutting down.
Sure.
And then asking about Woodford, and they were shutting down on Monday, and I thought, wow, here we go.
Yeah.
On Monday, we got shut down. That was the 16th, I believe, right? 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
16th. And we closed. And I remember this was so eerie. We were sitting in the restaurant, and a group of amazing folks from Rolling Oven Pizza came to eat.
Oh yeah.
And we were the last people all sitting in the restaurant, and we literally felt like
Oh wow.
the Last Supper. I mean, it just was this
Yeah,
weird kind of epic last meal, and we just knew this is over, this is it, and what's going to happen. And and so for 2 months, of course, we guessed, when are we going to get to open again? But one of the big things we did as a restaurant, of course, we were like, what do we do? And chef started immediately this kind of family meal thing developed amongst restaurants for people to come get a meal, and they could take it with them, and that sort of takeout thing. But we didn't even have a website.
Right.
So
yeah, I remember that.
So Monday we get shut down. I think I called our point of sale system, which essentially could link up to an online store. I said, you've got to help me. I've got to get this online store up and running. We took photos all week long, and by that Friday we had a website where people could get takeout. So kind of didn't miss a beat. We adjusted our hours, and for the next 2 months, we got an insane amount of support from local Frankfurt, Lawrenceburg, Lexington, Versailles, Midway. Just we were so lucky to get the local support. And of course, Bourbon travels were pretty much shut down at that point.
Right.
So the local support meant the world to us, and we survived through that. So, of course, around the 1st of June, we got to open back up again. And we were very lucky. We're kind of different than, what Kyle probably was experiencing in downtown Lexington, where, there's very little sidewalk seating and outside seating. And of course, being shut down inside for us was only... Well, this was a lot, but we were missing 40 seats, but we essentially still had our screen porch.
Right.
We still had the tree house. And so I think for people, the Stave became the place to go to escape, to have a nice socially distanced meal outside. And so for the summer, the spring, or the rest of the summer and into the fall, we did well, having the outside seating. Until it got cold again.
Right.
And so we thought, okay, time to reinvent ourselves yet again. And we decided to put out fire pits.
Dude.
And not just one.
I'm just telling you, that was, when you guys put that up, I was like, holy crap, this is the coolest. No, seriously.
Thank you.
That was just like, you guys took it and rolled with it, and that was an awesome idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a great lesson and way to look at pivoting.
Sure.
Business, something's thrown. How do you pivot and make it work? And you all did it very gracefully.
Thank you. We got a lot of great feedback from that. I think to see that people appreciated that was awesome for us. We put out 16 fire pits, and we had the idea to, because that's quite a load on the kitchen. Basically each fire pit is made for what we were allowed to have. I think at that point was up to 8 people. So it was like 6 to 8 people in a group. Could come and be outside together around a fire. So we had 16 of those. So we actually had to schedule them, and we actually had Santa come to visit.
Yeah.
We had a fire pit day with Santa. We had a fire pit day with the Castle and Key Restoration Rye release. We had a fireside chat.
I was there.
So that you were there. so such a fun night. And the Castle and Key crew is awesome. So it was actually John Newton's idea, called me and said, let's do a fireside chat. I thought, how brilliant. So we survived, I guess, through the second shutdown, where they didn't let us have inside dining at all through there around Thanksgiving time.
Right.
We survived that. So we did go ahead and shut down in January. And quite honestly, we were exhausted at that point from having to reinvent ourselves so many times.
Yep, I'm sure. So you shut down in January, did some renovations, did some changes.
Yep.
And Chef Kyle came on board as well. So now you got everything revamped. So, Chef, tell us a little bit about the menu. Tell us a lot about the menu.
I would say about 90% of the menu has just been completely overturned.
Sure.
So we were going more towards the Kentucky style. So I was looking at trouts, looking at game meats.
Yeah.
River fish, everything like that. Quail, getting some local quail, getting some cool game meat, whatever. I usually talk to my butcher, and he's able to find out some good types of meat that he's got in. He's like, because we grind our own stuff too. So
right.
Like for our game sausage, we get bison in and elk, and we grind it all up, and then we make our own bacon. And so I take our bacon, I cure it for about 7 days, and then after the 7 days, I smoke it in Woodford casks.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, so
Yeah, some
good.
leftover Woodford casks. I put it in the smoker, and then that smokes for about 6 hours. And then I take it out of the smoker, and then I braise it for about 3-4 hours, and then I slice the bacon up. So that gives us like nice thick slabs of bacon on top of it.
What?
And at the very end, like after I'm done slicing, I always have like extra tidbits that are just small pieces. I take the grinder and I grind that up inside of our sausage mix, so I can throw bacon inside of our sausage mix at the exact same time. So
Holy crap.
It is so good.
it's
And the game meatloaf is like one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, it's a long process, but it's definitely worth it.
So is the bacon that's on the cheeseburger, is that the bacon you guys make?
Yeah. That's
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because my son, we were out there a month or so ago, and my son had the burger with the bacon, and I didn't taste it, and I should have. I haven't had a bacon burger out there because I go for that. The Nashville Hot Chicken, is that?
Oh, yes.
I call it sweet honey.
Sweet, yeah.
Or hot honey, sorry. It's
Hot
called
honey.
honey because I make a Tabasco sauce and then I mix honey sauce inside of it. And so it's got that sweet and hot sauce to it.
Yeah,
Reminds me
man.
of like sweet and sour chicken. But
Yeah.
oh,
man, it's
Nashville style.
it's great because I had that when I was out there when I came out to pick up the Castle and Key bottle 2 Fridays ago. That's what I had sitting there, and it was nice because you're open inside. As
it's
well.
so nice to be open inside again.
Yeah, that was cool. And I got to tell you, man, you guys were slammed. I was shocked, because I pulled in and it was 10:45. I picked up my bottle, so it was probably just a little bit after 11, maybe 11:15 or something. I drove by, saw Kyle standing outside, pulled in to talk to him, and as soon as I pulled in, there were like 2 other cars that pulled in behind me, and I was like, huh. It's like, well, I think I'll just have some lunch. So I park and go in, and I sit at the bar, which was really cool to be able to sit at the bar. But then, it got packed within 30 minutes, man. You guys were slamming. Yeah. But the service was great,
Thank you for saying that.
No, seriously, the food was fantastic. The service was great. Everybody was so attentive. So yeah, it was just a great experience. So I'm really happy to see that you guys, to go for an entire year, and survive through that, and then rebrand yourself and recreate these things and do all what you got to do to get through it, and then to come back so strong with this new menu, man. So
I do have a pandemic story. Like when we closed down over at Oscar Diggs. So when the pandemic happened, they told us like, hey, you have to be closed by 5-6 o'clock. I can't remember what the time it was, but we closed Oscar Diggs at like 3, and I let all my employees know, and we told them everything that was going on. Like, we're going to close and rebrand everything that's going on. So I'm like, hey, Molly Brooks is having drinks over there because 2 weeks before that, it was St. Patty's Day. And they had all these leftover Heinekens and like all these Irish car bombs that they pre-made ahead of time because of the St. Patty's Day parade.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so Molly Brooks were just giving them away to like, not wouldn't say legally, we paid for them.
Right, we shut down like what?
They were shutting them down.
And
so at Molly Brooks, they just turned on REM, It's the End of the World, constantly on the jukebox while doing Irish car bombs the entire night. It was a wild time. And then I just remember they're taking care. He's like, take care of your bartender because you never know if they're going to be able to get back. So we ended up just tipping them constantly. And it was that's my pandemic story. Like when we were closed down, it was a hazy night. I don't remember how the night ended, but it was wild.
Oh man, that's great because obviously to be able to at least tell a funny story, even because it was a very difficult time for a lot of people, and you guys have made it through. So hopefully, it feels like we're kind of at the I don't want to say at the end, but I feel like we've gone through that tunnel and there's a light. It seems like things are finally opening back up, and we're getting back to something that seems somewhat normal. I hope. I don't know. What are you guys seeing from the restaurant side of it?
Busy.
Well,
constant.
Do you mind if I talk about the employees too?
Oh yeah.
That's probably the saddest part about this is when they were like, hey, you've got to shut down. We actually didn't know what to do with the employees because we were like, okay, well, you just told us to shut down. Like, do we have unemployment for them? Like, what do we do? And so we kind of quickly scrambled to figure out. And I think within 2 days, we kind of knew like, okay, state's going to help out with this. And so the saddest part, we laid off 26 people.
Wow.
We had already staffed up for the spring. Like I said, we were going gangbusters. We were so busy. And so we laid off those folks. We were super lucky. In the summer, we got a fantastic staff. We stopped doing full service. So we were trying to protect our employees and just going to window service, right? So very low touch. Just come get your food, go sit at one of our, picnic tables out on the half acre. And so we had a fantastic staff. Well, they were all teachers. So in August, they all went back to school. And so we had to kind of restaff up in August.
Oh, man.
And all those fine folks were with us all the way through the winter. So we actually didn't have a huge staff to begin with going through the winter. But coming out and opening in February again, like I said, I have a fantastic friend who put it perfectly, and this is industry-wide. She said that the pace of the patrons' return is outpacing the return of people to the service industry.
Sure.
Completely true. And I just want to share that so that everybody understands. It is not just us. Every single restaurant is hiring, by the way.
Sure.
Every restaurant is
Every
hiring.
restaurant. I have plenty of my friends
And
coming
we're all
over
having trouble finding people.
Plenty of my friends coming over to ask me, like, hey, do you have employees you can send my way? Like, no. I've got some good friends that are helping me out right now. And like I said, for 2 months, it's just on Fridays and Saturday nights, it's just been me cooking constantly, just ongoing.
He's amazing.
7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day, open to close. I prep, cook, and clean. So it's
man, that's a lot. I mean, that's something else. I mean, you guys you're out there, you're not in the city. So I guess, people got to drive out to work. So I don't know if that's kind of a hindrance.
It does play a factor. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that probably does play into that, I'm sure. But when I was out there, like I said, when I was out there Friday, it was like service was on, everybody was great and everything was running smooth.
We are.
Kyle's
it's a great little family. I really love the employees that we have, and I hope we continue to bring on more people, more staff, so that we can polish up our service. Which again, I think, thank you, as you mentioned, was really good when you were there. They're great. The people that we have are fantastic. I just wish we had more to handle the number of people that are coming back.
Sure.
So,
and I'll tell you, there's a bartender there. I forget her name, but. We were out there about a month or so ago, and she had made a s'more.
Brooks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That old fashioned it had the toasted graham cracker on top of the old fashioned. Man, that was awesome. I put that on Instagram, and seriously, that got like probably the most likes that I've had on a picture.
Oh, that's
which
great.
is funny because usually, you put bottles up and whatnot, and that's what it gets people attraction, if you put food or stuff up, people were like, yeah, that's nice. And you get a couple of likes. But that was the 2 old fashions that we ordered with those smoked.
The double oaked.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was fantastic. But that was really, really popular. So she knocked it out on that. So the drinks are great, man. The food's great. So no complaints at all. So very, very cool, man. You guys have really gone through a lot. So I'm happy to see that you've pulled through and come out the other side and you got some great things planned. And we can talk about that in the third shift.
Ooh, third shift. Are we at third shift already?
We're getting ready to hit that third.
Soon we'll be there.
Does that make it midnight shift then? Is that third shift or what?
I think Semisonic's at the best closing time.
Closing time. There you go. That's right. I'll have to bust out a little karaoke. That was one of my favorite songs. Anyway, I won't do that to anybody. So let's get back and get some final thoughts here. I was going to say restoration rye, but it's the slow hands single barrel.
It's smooth.
Yeah, Castle and Key. You like it?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah. What about you, Rebecca?
It's the flavor profile is so unique.
It is.
I'm getting the mint, but the fruit on this is really nice, and it's got a nice lightness to it. Which is really enjoying that.
Very surprising to me at 111 proof. I'm really surprised at how easy, and I don't want to say smooth, but how easy, because drinking that Maker's Mark, which is a proof point in a little bit below. It had almost more of a rye kick to it than this rye actually has. Matt, am I crazy or what?
No, I'm with you on that one. This has got a nice subtle finish that really it doesn't blow out real quick like that. I feel like Maker's was like boom, hot on the tongue. Yeah, this has a really nice build on the finish and the flavor of the palate. Yeah, like nice honey, a little bit of chocolate in there as well.
That malted barley, I was going to say, I think that malted barley's giving it a little bit of that chocolate. I get a little bit of that now.
I get more of the blueberry too.
just like that Brooklyn that we drink.
Yeah, exactly. That's,
that like a chocolate covered blueberry. Yeah. I'm not picking up the blueberry, but I'm starting to get a little bit of that chocolatey cocoa off of this as well. So yeah, man. So I think they did really good on this one. 3.5 years old. That's
I think it drinks older than that.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't wait till they put out some bourbon. I think I'm hoping that's going to be this year.
Or I'm interested in seeing this age too.
Yeah.
To be honest, because this is amazing.
Ryes have been on the rise lately too, so it's been like I've been seeing them a lot all over the place now. So
yes, Rise on the Rise. Rise on the Rise.
That guy.
That's gonna be a bourbon name one day.
There you go. Rise on the Rye. Awesome. All right, guys, let's take a quick break, get a word from our other sponsor, and we'll be back with more with Rebecca and Kyle from the Stave restaurant.
Hey, Bourbon Lifers. We want to take just a second and tell you a little bit about 3 Chord Whiskey. 3 Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The 3 Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call perfectly tuned taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them all together. After each blend is completed, the 3 Chord team then applies their proprietary process of pyrolysis, that's a lot to say, isn't it? Which involves heating American oak to precise temperatures to release specific flavor and aroma compounds. Then they use another proprietary method called rhythmic disruption process, and that's more than just playing music to a bunch of barrels, which integrates all of those related compounds into the blended spirit. Finally, each small batch blend of 3 Chord is evaluated by a trained sensory panel to ensure an uncommon depth of flavor, character, aroma, and a perfectly tuned taste in each bottle. With their introductory blended bourbon, their Amplify Rye, Strange Collaboration, which is a Pinot Noir finished Kentucky bourbon, their 94 rated 12-bar reserve, and the brand new highly coveted 15-year Kentucky bourbon they call the Whiskey Drummer, there's a lot of options available from 3 Chord. Like the feeling you get when you hear that perfect song, you'll know that the 3 Chord line of whiskeys are right from the first sip. They resonate with so much flavor, you'll want an encore. Find out more about 3 Chord whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.3chordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the third shift of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm here. See, it was funny to me, Rebecca. I think that's the perfect thing to call it, the third shift. So.
This is like when working a double goes really wrong.
Exactly. That's where that's coming from.
Well, I'm your host, Mark, anyway. I'm not Mark anyway, but I'm anyway. Yeah, I'm your host, Mark. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, we've made it this far, man.
We'd better stick around.
That's right.
That's right, because we've got Rebecca Burnworth and Kyle Klatka from the Stave restaurant.
Yes.
With us here.
Hello. We made it to the third shift.
You made it to third shift. Congratulations. You've been promoted now to third shift.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think that's a promotion, is it?
And not only did they make it this far, they actually are they're the purveyors of the third shift here. So what are we drinking, y'all?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you guys. This is, I'm super excited for Kyle to talk about food with this too. We did our first barrel pick with Wine and Market with Seth Brewer of Wine and Market.
Yeah.
And that's Wine and Market here in Lexington.
That's right.
Yep.
And so we called it the porch pick. So it's the Wine and Market and the Stave porch pick. Seth and I literally were on my porch trying to get through a kit actually, and because of pandemic things.
Sure.
And,
right.
That was the way to do it. And we selected this, and I think it was a great pick. And I think Seth's got a fantastic palate, so I was really happy to be sitting by his side and doing this. But it is a tasty. It's a pretty high proof, a little bit hot, but
what's the proof?
The flavors are great. It's a 120. So this is what are we calling it? The end game.
Yeah,
here.
this is
So
the
we've
last
been
one.
slowly building. So we did a 110 and 111, and now we're at 120.
Yeah. And this is, did we mention this is
sipping.
a Knob Creek, correct? Did we mention that?
I don't know if
so.
she did. I think she did.
It's
Maybe.
a
we did
single
now.
barrel, Knob Creek single barrel
Creek,
select
okay.
bourbon.
It's
So
a 9-year.
and it is. I think the age statement on it's about a 9 year. So
Yeah.
yep.
So 9 year, and
is
of course the
delicious.
single barrels are 120 proof, which is fantastic. The first thing I noticed when you brought
dimples?
that tonight was that bottle. I mean, holy crap!
All the little dimples inside of it.
That's so crazy. The bottles changed. They got on the front now it says, what's it say? Single
I
barrel.
love the
It
label.
says small batch on it.
What's
the-
embossed
the
in
sample.
the glass? What's
Oh, in the glass says Knob Creek small batch.
Yeah,
engraved in
so
the glass.
their old bottles aren't like that, are they, Matt? They
No,
don't
they're
have the-
not. So it looks like they've redone their packaging.
Yeah,
a
I
little.
was gonna
Same
say
shape.
You can
Yeah.
look right over your head. You can see the old
Yeah.
Knob Creek
Oh,
single
yeah.
barrels
Oh,
right
it is, yeah.
right there. Yeah, so
Yeah, same
yeah.
shape of the glass, but kind of different look, different
yeah,
feel.
and it's got
physical
dimples. It's
feel
got
as
like
well.
ripples on the back of the bottle. I don't know how they did that. That's a
for
really
grab and go, baby.
well. Seriously, I mean,
Makes it easier to hand.
It does. I mean, you really can handle that much easier. You can get a good grip on that, much more so. So that's really cool. So, all right, so 120 proof, and let's get some thoughts. Matt, what do you got?
Oh, let's.
Oh, Kyle, no, let's
yeah.
let Kyle
Say,
talk. Yeah,
I definitely get the caramel notes on that right away
Yeah,
off,
let's hear
off
it.
the smell. You can
Let's hear
definitely
it, Chef.
just
What
from
do
the smell, the smell, you can definitely tell it's a higher proof.
Oh yeah. There's definitely there's some ethanol in there for sure. No doubt about it. Matt's over there. Matt, it's not a fire, buddy. You can't blow it out.
Warming it up.
He's over there. I just look over. Matt's going blowing into his glass. I'm like, dude, that's not going to work with your bourbon. I'm sorry.
Blow some of that out of there.
Blow some of the ethanol out. I get you, man. Yeah. The first thing I noticed was the color.
The color.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful color. I love that, like dark amber color. Very nice. 9 years old.
With the higher years, yeah, you get a better smokiness to it too.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
definitely with the color.
Matt. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
Right?
Wow. All right. So
It's hot, but
It
full of
kicks, but
flavor.
it doesn't burn. Like it doesn't burn. It doesn't make your tongue numb.
yeah, I mean that's kind of crazy, and I don't remember what the mash bill is on Knob Creek. Matt, do you know?
I'd be making it up offhand.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be. I'm sure it's 70 the corn
Yeah,
and
I'm looking at the bottle. On
some percentage of rye. Are they a lower rye mash bill? Do you remember? I can't. Off the top of my head again, I can't remember what
I
that.
forget.
Yeah, it won't have it on the
We
bottle.
went
unfortunately.
so many different directions when we had Fred and Freddie on. I don't remember that.
Fred, no.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was quite a show. Yeah. So all right, Matt, what are you picking up now that you've had time to work it over?
That caramel comes across. I'm picking up a good smokiness coming through from the oak. Also a really nice vanilla. I pick up really great subtle tones of vanilla that are coming through.
Yeah. All right. So is it Knob Creek? People get the nuttiness off of this too, right? Sometimes,
definitely.
right? Yeah.
You can definitely taste the
'Cause-
the little nuttiness to it.
Yeah. Kind of a peanutty, maybe kind of. I don't know, something. I'm picking up a nuttiness on the nose and on the palate. But what shocked me on the first drink was, well, of course, I've had two others, before
Hires.
this. So maybe it's numbed, the palate a little bit. But I was shocked that it was at 120. It was almost easier to drink than the other two. But
Yeah, it doesn't have that like front palate kick right away that you would expect from 120. It eases into a really nice heat.
yeah, the back of my tongue, I kind of start picking up a little bit of heat on there, a little bit of that tingle. Not maybe a little bit of tannic, but not too bad. It's not really drying me out. Not like that Maker's. I don't pick up that much tannins off of it, but maybe just a touch. But I'm always looking for that.
I get that. I think the nuttiness for me comes through as like a good peanut brittle.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's perfect. Yeah, we've got the caramel.
the
and
caramel
the-
too.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's
It's
perfect.
Yeah, I like that.
It really has a great peanut brittle taste to it. Like touch of getting that vanilla coming down the line on the finish. It's closing out with that.
Very nice. All right, Kyle. So we're off the record and talking about what you'd pair this with. So on the record, man, what do you think?
Definitely, the first thing that comes to my mind is like pork chops. Definitely
Nice.
like bone-in pork chops, straight up like tomahawk style,
Oh yeah,
with like fried apples or something, some kind of apples, just to pair it, just to calm it down a little bit from the heat.
yeah.
But
yeah.
definitely works great with pork.
Nice. Pork chops and applesauce.
Yeah.
There you go. That would work. All right. So let's get back. Let's talk about the stave, and let's talk about a little bit more about the food, Kyle.
Yeah.
Tell us some other things you guys have on the menu.
Right off the top of my head right now is the fried chicken. Like we do a brine for our airline breast. So I do a rye brine. So a rye brine is basically when you make ricotta cheese, the leftover milk is the is the saltiness of the brine left over. And so I take the leftover juice of the rye and I brine the chicken inside of a rye brine. Okay. And so I leave that in for about 24 hours and that makes it super, super tender. And then I usually just throw basic like salt, sugar, all that bay leaf inside of it. But it's just to touch it up. But our fried chicken is probably our number one seller. I can't keep up with
crazy numbers.
I can't keep up with fried chicken.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure Anita's had it because she's a big fried chicken fan. But I'm always like burger, the spicy chicken.
Oh, the hot chicken sandwich.
The hot chicken sandwich, man. I just can't get enough of that one for some reason. I am a big fan of that for sure. So, but you guys got, great appetizers out there as well. I mean, talk about what you got there on the...
right now, I probably think the number one seller, I don't know if it's the hoe cakes, the fritters. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but it's like, I know how much I sell because it's how much I make, but it's so constant. But I would say, the hoe cakes, we do a pulled pork, which I smoke pork shank for pork shoulder for about 7 to 8 hours, and then I braise it until it basically falls off the bone. Oh, yeah. And then I make an Ale 8 bourbon barbecue. So it's got Ale 8 ginger and bourbon inside of it, and I just mix that together, and I make a hoe cake. Hoe cake is basically, it's just like a pancake, but like a corn version of it.
Yeah.
I throw roasted corn inside of it. So then I make 3 little pancakes, and then I throw the barbecue Ale 8 bourbon on top of the hoe cakes, and
man,
that sells.
You make a green tomato chutney that is really good.
Yes, yeah. A lot of people are surprised that it's green tomatoes.
Well, and I, from having green tomato pie in the past, I think I'm always surprised at how much the texture and maybe the flavor, especially if you add almost like an apple pie spice, that the green tomato comes off as apples.
Yeah, well, you put the brown sugar.
It's almost like an apple chutney too. Yeah. It's really yummy.
Well, I was gonna say you talked about the green apple chutney, and that triggered the
green tomato chutney.
The green,
green
tomato.
That tastes
chutney.
like
it's
apple.
A green tomato that tastes like apple.
But it made me think of the green tomato pie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because Anita and I got a piece of that last year, I guess it was, and I was like, "There's not a chance I'm gonna eat."
Tastes just like apple pie,
and it tasted just like apple pie.
Yeah. That brown sugar really like breaks it down.
Freaking believe that.
It makes so I do a chutney that's just like that with raisins and a couple other things, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Nice,
pretty basic stuff. And I slowly took that down for about 3-4 hours, and I put that on top of the hoe cakes and the barbecue.
Man,
so it's got green tomatoes on top of it.
We should have had like a tasting, a bourbon. We should have just said, like, why don't you guys just, bring some stuff
next time
when we go out. Next time we'll just come out to you guys.
That's
fair.
And,
but that wouldn't be fair to Kyle, because then Kyle would have to be like, I'm making all
just
this.
Like pop in at every shift.
I know.
I'll hop in the kitchen.
There you go, Matt and Kyle. That's right.
Awesome.
We'll hook you guys up with the wireless mics. Perfect. And then you guys can be running around doing your stuff, and Rebecca and I'll just be sitting there drinking at the bar.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
We could do opposite. You guys can cook, and we'll drink at the bar.
I don't know if you want to see that, Kyle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't want me to.
I don't know. I like cooking. Right?
You don't want me to cook anything. I can assure you that. I'll pour you up some drinks though. That I'm good at.
It's so funny. A lot of people ask me like, "What do you usually eat when you get home?" And after you cook all this food and everything, I'm like, I just Taco Bell,
Pizza,
Hot Pockets, whatever anything I don't have to cook.
Awesome. That's great.
So now you guys are still doing live music out there, right?
Every Saturday.
Yeah, every Saturday. We're going to add a couple Friday nights. Occasionally we'll get somebody that really wants to play the Stave, and for some reason we're all booked up on Saturdays, and all they have is Fridays. So Billy Don Burns is going to be playing. Lance Rogers is going to open for him. I believe that's April 23rd, which is a Friday. So that's a pretty big deal.
Okay.
For us to get Billy Don Burns and his crew there. So
they're playing up at the Treehouse.
That's right. I think by April. So right now we've been having music out at the fire pits, which is below. We're calling it the lower treehouse lawn. So the fire pits are literally, if you were at the treehouse and looked over the edge, that's not the creek side. The other edge is the fire pit side. So we've actually, because the treehouse really isn't, we don't have the staff to also have people up at the treehouse right now. So the fire pits, we've just been having the bands just play out on the lawn, and people are loving it. Yeah. And what a great experience to come out, listen to live music, be socially distanced, have a fire. Of course, we've had this kind of cool but nice spring. And so it's just been, I think everybody's been really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, when I came out there for the Restoration Rye release, I mean, it was awesome just to hang out and get to drink. And of course, Barry Brenniger was out there from William Tarr, and he brought his own. He's like, I didn't want to break the bottle out, but I'm like, oh, let's break it out.
Oh, that's Barry. Every time I see him, he always has a bottle on him.
Like, no, Barry, that's okay. Let's drink some of the William Tarr Distillery. Let's go ahead and drink some of that, man. The Manchester Reserve. Let's go ahead and do that. Nobody's gonna care. But I mean, it was it was a good time, and we had a great meal out there, of course. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to hang out at the fire pit. So now we kind of made it through. Hopefully, the pandemic. You got. Everything's new chef, new menu. So what's everything look like going forward? Future, what's on the you guys?
Yeah, why don't you give us the scoop?
Yeah, give us the scoop.
Working on that.
Tell us some.
Do you want to tell?
We got some really good staff. I got lucky on some really good staff in the kitchen. That's just been amazing. I got this new girl, my sous chef, Peyton Brown, who's so good. Like she's amazing for her age, for being so young. Like I am at a point where I can trust people. If I leave, I can trust somebody, which is a lot to take. So it's like most of the time I don't want to leave somebody by themselves that I don't trust. And at this point I'm with Peyton. I was like, she knows exactly what I want. Nice. And so she's able to handle it while I'm away. So now that that's going on, I can start. I've been working on some new specials and stuff like that, and just new items here and there. I think this weekend I got some venison coming in because one of my butcher friends said he's got it right now for cheap. So
nice.
It's like, yeah, give me some venison. I'm going to break it down, make some venison sloppy joes with some fennel slaw. Just a big old sloppy sandwich. So it's been
fun.
It's like I had a piece of peanut butter bread this afternoon. So I'm like, you're killing me, man. You're talking about all this stuff and like absolutely just killing me.
Wait, have you had the pretzel crusted trout with the mustard Burblonk sauce that he put on?
Oh yeah,
oh my gosh,
it's a big entree.
It is so good.
I take a trout and I pound it out in some pretzels, and then I just do a slow cook on it, flip it over, get a nice like pretzel crust on top of it, and then I make a white Burblonk sauce, and then I add whole grain mustard and capers inside the Burblonk sauce. So it's mustard with a butter sauce and pretzels. Mustard and pretzels work great together. So on top of that with like a white wine lemon butter sauce on top of that.
All right. Is that's on the menu?
That's on the menu,
yeah.
Okay. It's one of our entrees. Yeah, it's amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
Now
so good.
Now that I know.
So it's really good.
It's like I'm sitting here, where am I going to go tomorrow for lunch? Let's see. I have an idea where I might go. All right, so let's get back and talk about your pick here just a little bit more. Matt, what do you got going over there?
I love these Knob Creeks.
I know you do, man.
Then it's no secret to this podcast that I think these are some of the best values in bourbon.
Yeah.
And this one hits right on. The peanut brittle, it's like reminding me more and more of like a Payday candy bar. As I'm sitting here thinking about it more. If someone's not had peanut brittle before, think of like a Payday.
A Payday candy
it's
bar.
Got that caramel, the peanuts on it. Good. I pick up some of that vanilla on the finish. Nice oakiness to it. This is a really solid pick that you've made
for 120 proof. Yeah, it's solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Rebecca, this is the first one you guys have done?
Yeah, surprisingly, I think we've been.
I was gonna say,
I know it's incredible. Well, we're at probably about 150 bourbon and whiskeys on the shelf right now. So we've spent some time really building that collection, and I think moving forward, you had asked about kind of future projects. I think moving forward, you can see a lot more barrel picks from us. I think we really want to put our mark out there, and
nice.
We've got a lot of friends in Lexington that do the same, and a lot of partners that. We're interested in kind of hanging out with to do the barrel picks. So, and maybe you all included.
You know what I was going to say? If you ever need, an extra set of tasters, let us know.
That's right.
We'd be more than happy to participate.
Love it.
And help you pick a barrel or 2 or 3 or 6 or.
That sounds awesome. Well, and Matt had mentioned Scoop. We also wanted to kind of let out of the bag that we've been. Of course, we have the restaurant across the street, or it used to be a restaurant. We have the building across the street from us. It's actually a little compound of buildings. It used to be the original general store of Millville.
Nice.
And there's some E.H. Taylor notes there. I need to keep diving into the history. But there's a barn out back, which is a pretty great structure. And there's an old oil house, which used to be where the gas station attendant would kind of sit there. And so as far as I can tell, my architect brain thinks it's probably a 19-teens building.
Okay.
Both the general store and maybe the oil house. So we are trying to save the oil house. All of these buildings are kind of covered in vinyl right now, which was such a great move to preserve the wood. But, we're trying to unwind that and have the, them painted as they would have been back when originally built. But the oil house is going to have a new life as an ice cream shop. So we're trying to expand kind of the experience when you come to the Stave, that then maybe you could go across the street and have some tasty treats. And of course, for the kids of Millville, I mean, we're super excited for the locals to be able to partake in that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because anytime I come out there, there's kids. You just always see kids out playing, riding their bikes. And
it's nice and friendly, family friendly.
Yeah. Very, very nice. Matt, that was great. The scoop. Yeah, now I see where he was going. Yeah. That's funny.
And we've been trying to get, Kyle's been wrangling some of our buddies here in Lexington. We're so lucky to have friends that make bourbon, beer, and now sake, as well as cider. So we had a couple fun adventures this week where we did a tasting. Kyle, you want to talk a little bit more about them?
The Void sake. It's the partners from Ethereal, Brandon Floan and Joe Rice. I probably messed up Brandon's last name, but but yeah, we did their tasting yesterday, and oh my god, it was unique. It was amazing. I mean, unique, but so yeah, we tried them out. It's the
first sake in Kentucky, right?
First sake in Kentucky. He was super impressed. I put my order in right away.
Right. Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I put my order in right away for the Stave, and then they were like, "Well, we're gonna have to wait about 2 weeks because it's so high demand right now."
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, it's super impressed. Like they're gonna be huge coming up. I feel like coming up.
So for people that don't know, obviously, Ethereal Brewing is it's a brewery here in Lexington, downtown. They're down in the Distillery District. Yeah. So they've got it's called the Void.
The Void.
The Void, and it's a sake that they're coming out with.
Huh. It's beautiful. It was pure, clean, and it's like 15%. It's delicious. Only 4 ingredients. It keeps it simple.
So are they making that downtown at Ethereal, or are they offsite? No, they're somewhere.
It's offsite. Yeah,
it's just one of the partners.
It's just one of the partners.
They're branched off to
I get
the
okay.
sake.
I'm sorry. I got
No
you
worries.
now. Okay. I'm with you. So does that mean that the Stave's going to be doing sushi?
No, God, no.
Sushi and sake at the Stave.
Yeah,
Say that
Kentucky
5 times.
If anything, ramen.
Sushi.
No, but happy to present, anything Kentucky. I think this is,
Sure.
we're proud of our friends for this endeavor, and it turned out fantastic.
Really
so why
good.
not,
Cool.
present
Yeah.
that at the Stave as a local fair.
And then you said some cider as well that you guys.
Yeah, Wisebird.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
they're
Tim
down-
and Greta did
Oh,
a
yeah.
fantastic
They're
job.
downtown as well. Same location.
They're in the
well,
distillery
the
district.
distillery
That's
district,
right.
As if
Yep.
you're
They're in the 5-story, what we call the 5-story, the old Rick House for James Pepper.
right.
It's the real tall building down there. They're right on the creek, so a really great experience to go down there and hang out on the creek and have some great ciders.
Yeah.
But they're doing. Kyle, maybe you could help me out here. They have a dessert. I want to say dessert wine because that's what it reminded me of. But it was.
I don't know how to put my
It's
finger on it though, because I've
gorgeous.
never
It's a
had
dessert
anything like it.
cider.
So.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And they're aging it in James Pepper.
Yeah,
barrels,
James
correct?
Pepper barrels over at the Barrel House over
Right.
near Elkhorn,
Yep.
where they age it. So it's I don't know how to explain it.
No,
It's
gorgeous. It's almost like a maybe a dessert wine. It does have
Like an
that
ice
kind
wine?
of flavor.
Yeah.
Like a port, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just it's on the sweeter side. It's almost like a really concentrated. And he explained the process, and it was there were a lot of steps involved, and I love that they were kind of concentrating the cider and then aging it in bourbon barrels. So it just had this fantastic complexity to it, and we're sitting
Ciders,
here
yeah.
not being able to
Ciders
put our
and
finger on
bourbon.
it, but
it's like
it's
I've never
because
had
it was
never
so
had anything
complex.
like it. So I
Yeah.
was trying to explain like how can I explain this? It's like,
But we would encourage you to go get some.
So is
At Wisebird.
that's available now?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
At
Set it on the shelf
Wisebird, you can pick up a bottle.
Yeah, and that's such a cool little
And we're going to be
district.
trying to get their stuff out to the Stave as well.
Okay, cool.
On tap.
Yeah, and that's a cool district down there too. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to do. Hang out down there and get some Goodfellas pie.
Oh yeah. Play.
If you like pizza, throw some axes. You can throw axes.
Got the
down there,
Burl
too.
Arcade. You can play pinball.
Oh, there you go. It's a yeah. All right, guys. Well, man, we've already reached the end of the third shift.
Did we really?
Third shift. I know. Third shift
Going
is
to bed.
third shift's over. No, it's like time to go out. I'm hungry now. So thanks, Kyle, for that. Gonna have to do something about that. So, all right. So anything else before we wrap it up, guys? That you want to? Well, the bottles. People can buy those, right?
People can buy the Stave,
The Knob Creek pick. Yeah.
at the Stave. So we do have our license to sell bottles, and we are selling those by the pour or by the bottle.
Okay, great. So you do sell other. I mean, you have in the past sold other bottles because you have the retail license to do that. We talked about that last time, and I've actually purchased, I don't know how many bottles out
thank
there.
you.
I think like I think I bought 5 or 6 Old Granddad bottle 114.
Oh, that's great.
I bought some of the barrel bourbon batch 21. That was
Ooh, that's a good
the
one.
whiskey of the year. I think I bought 2 bottles out there. Yeah, I mean, so anytime I'm out there, if I see, so of course I love just to text. Of course, my text won't work out there because there's not much of a cell phone
right.
signal for me, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for AT&T. But
That happens at the
I love
Stave.
to take a picture of your Blantons or whatever and be like, "Hey, Rebecca, can I buy this?"
I keep teasing him now that I'll trade for Blantons.
There you go. That's right. Yeah.
Bland's is going up really high now in the secondary. it's crazy to see it on.
It's crazy. I don't. It's okay. I mean, it's good bourbon. You know, the bottle's awesome. It's the first
smooth.
single barrel. You know, and the topper's really cool. So it's a neat story, but the bourbon itself is not worth $150 or whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
A bottle that
The market price is like 60, and then secondary is
Yeah.
like 150. It's like no, what for a 6 year?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely not worth it. All right, guys. So final thoughts, Matt, on the Knob Creek store pick barrel pick, I should say, from the Stave.
It hits right on with all the notes I look for in Knob Creek. It's got the maturity, the good peanut coming across with it, vanilla, the caramel, oak with it. It's solid. It's a great pick all around. This would be one
Thank you.
that fits the profile for Knob Creek and has a little bit of a twist to it. I like that payday that I'm getting out of it, the candy bar,
Funny, yeah.
and the sweetness. So it's got a little twist from just certainly different from what you would just pick up off the shelf from Knob Creek. And I think this is one that most people should probably be looking to get.
Yeah, and they can get it at your place, so that's awesome. Can you tell us what retail is on that, or can we just leave that to their own discretion? So we'll just leave that they can come out and find it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fairly priced. We and like I said, they can buy it by the pour or even by the flight pour. So I think they'll find a good deal out there.
Yeah, always at the Stave. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, definitely need to get there and check them out. Kyle, before we wrap it up, man, anything you want to add?
Nothing off the top of my head. I would say these bourbons catching up to me. So
Awesome, awesome. That was our evil plan. Man.
yeah.
So,
Well, we've had a blast.
Started
Thank you
out
for
slow.
having us out here.
well, thank you guys for joining us again. Like
love talking bourbon.
Yeah, man, and like Matt said, first repeat guest. So this is cool. This is fun, man.
Next time we'll come out to your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
We'll do it out at the restaurant.
Yeah, and of
That
course,
sounds fun.
we obviously appreciate your support. You guys have helped us this year, no doubt about it. So really appreciate that. Matt, before we close it out, man, anything else you want to add?
I'm hungry now.
I am too, dude.
That's all
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Third shift is closing.
I know that's what happens when you get off third shift, right? You get off of work, you're hungry, you're ready to go do something. So we'll have to do that. Well, I'll say what Matt, usually says. Thank you guys for being supporters, and you can always find us online. You can find us on our new website, thebourbonlife.net. You can follow us on Instagram, and actually, we are on TikTok now.
Ooh, I want to see that.
No, you know what? I'm just telling you, man. I swear, I'm old. I don't understand TikTok. I'm posting stuff on there, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
I hear you. I'm still on MySpace and LiveJournal.
There you go. It's like, dude, it's like I still log into AOL just so I can hear that beep. Oh, that's great. No, I'm not. But I still remember what my AOL name was, which is kind of funny. Yeah, but I don't use it. I don't use that anymore. But Yeah. Anyway, but thank you guys, everybody, for listening to us. And thank you again, Rebecca, Kyle, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
We really appreciate it. Had a good time. Thanks for bringing that Knob Creek. That was real nice.
Nice finisher.
Yeah. Way to close it out, right? Yeah. All right. So with that said, I need to thank our sponsors, the Stave Restaurant.
Oh,
yes. Thank you guys, of course. And 3 Chord Bourbon, of course, we appreciate their support. Ari Sussman, the master blender, master distiller, just doing some great work up there. He's a mad scientist of bourbons, I think. What do you think, Matt? Would you agree with that?
A calculated scientist.
A calculated.
Quite mad. Yeah, they're doing great stuff though. That's for certain. If you haven't had any of the 3 Chord products, they're definitely worth your time.
Yeah,
especially that 12-bar reserve.
I know, dude. I don't have my bottle's empty. I need to replenish that one, man. I drank it a couple weeks ago. It was gone. So, but that's awesome. So I have to get another bottle of that. But check them out online at 3 Chord Bourbon. They're also on Instagram as well and other social media. So check them out and go visit our friends at the Stave Restaurant. You won't be disappointed. The food's great. The people are great. Service is great. Great drinks, great bourbon. No question about it. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up and send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple, to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.